Hello and welcome to the Bree Davis podcast, hosted by me, Dr. Bree, but only a few of my patients call me that. I just go by Bree. Yay, well, thanks for coming on with me, Jessie, and I'm excited to talk to you about all things you and kind of the many hats you wear now, the hats that you wore in the past, and kind of what led you to this awesome kids organization that you guys are up and running in schools right now. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I guess to start, I want to know a little bit more about you. And so our viewers can know a little bit about your past and kind of what got you into CrossFit for one and fitness. And we can kind of figure out how you got so invested in helping kids.
So I'll start off from the beginning a little bit just because that's kind of where things stemmed from with my passion for fitness and working with students and children. When I was a kid, I grew up in Indonesia. I was born and raised there, and I was very, very blessed to have an American father. And so with that, we were able to go to an international school. And that international school, there was soccer, there was basketball, all kinds of sports that I could be involved in. And sports in Indonesia is very cheap. It's very affordable, but depending on where you live and your socioeconomic status, it's very difficult to have access to those sports programs. Even culturally, just expectation wise, they just don't see it's too much of a luxury to be doing sports. Kids will play soccer out in the villages they call desas, but they won't be involved in an active extracurricular activity unless you're in the city or you have money. And when I went to the United States, I went to college to be an educator. And when I was a student teacher, I learned that life isn't like the movies in America. Not everybody has cheer or soccer or basketball like they do at a High School Musical.
Yeah.
Some kids do have less access to sports and extracurricular activities depending on their socioeconomic status and also depending on what their life is like culturally. The United States is, I like to say, it's a salad bowl instead of a melting pot because everybody has different cultures and they're in this one bowl. In like Latino culture, there's machismo, which doesn't hinder them from playing sports, but expectations for Latino boys are very different than white boys. And that's just like how it is. So I learned that in student teaching, and when I was a student teacher, I would, during that time of my life, I went to Kauai, which is where the Keala Foundation is at at CrossFit Poipu initially, and I learned about their program that it was free for all kids to give them a positive outlet. And I know that you know a lot about it because you were involved in the Ultimate Hawaiian Trail Run. And I was thinking, how cool would it be for the kids in my student teaching class, or like just kids in general, to have a free CrossFit class. And I was introduced to CrossFit because I was a rower and I tried a CrossFit class a couple here and there, and so it just intrigued me. So fast forward to when I was a teacher, I had the opportunity to get my CrossFit Kids cert, which I think I was chatting with you about that. I was an educator and you helped me with that. And I didn't have any intention to teach. To coach CrossFit. I just was cool to have a CrossFit Kids cert. I was a teacher integrating it in the classroom. I met Nick Papas as well, and he was talking about this vision of having teachers integrate movement in the classroom. And I thought that was cool. But my love for CrossFit grew so much that I thought the thought of like, oh, how cool would it be to open my own CrossFit gym and be like CrossFit Poipu where kids can come in for free? Like, how cool would that be? So in my 4th year of teaching, opened a CrossFit affiliate with the intent of bringing kids in, did a fundraiser, which raised the funds to buy kids equipment, and 10 of my former second grade, third graders at the time had CrossFit for free.
That's so cool. I mean, that's not an easy feat, too, to go about raising all the money and doing that, and especially doing it on your own. How have you guys evolved since then? Like, what does, and I know some of this from following you guys and your awesome competitions and the one that just happened, but where are you guys at now? Like, what does your program look like?
Our program shifted from kids coming to a physical CrossFit affiliate. I sold my affiliate, and it's focusing more on bringing CrossFit after school programs to the schools itself. So, certified CrossFit coaches and the program and equipment. We go to the schools, we coordinate with the schools to figure out transportation so that kids can come and stay at school and then get picked up or take the bus to go home. So, when we decided to become a 501(c)(3), so Organización de Amigos came to life in February of last year, which is crazy. And we had two schools, which is one of the schools is the school that I had taught at for 6 years, and another school in Hillsborough, which I had a connection with through my tia. She works at a chiropractic clinic very close to the community, so one in Hillsborough, one in Beaverton. And with that school year, we had 50 kids, and we did another fundraiser that raised money for equipment. So I transported the equipment in my Chevy Malibu, which is in right now, and just brought it from school to school, did CrossFit Kids classes, and it was so, so fun. And the kids that were initially at my affiliate were doing it at the schools, and now they're fifth graders, which is awesome. And now in this school year, we have 3 schools. 2 of them
Wow.
are Title I. That means like high poverty or high percentage of kids who qualify for free and reduced lunch. And we are working with 72 students this year.
Wow.
I
That's
know,
so
it's
cool.
crazy. And CrossFit Foundation gave the $9,000 grant for 2 of the schools, so they have their own equipment.
Yeah, which I'm sure is super helpful that you don't have to lug it around.
It's so nice. And the PE teachers are learning more about like how can I use this, all of
Yeah.
that.
So you guys run programs after school. Are you guys doing any integration of movement? And if PE teachers or other teachers are catching on, are they doing any type of CrossFit during the school day or before school or during PE class?
It's something that we've envisioned happening in the future, but not yet. What we envision happening is, and I'm like planting the seed and hoping they'll take this, is like,
Yeah.
CrossFit does free, like for teachers, CrossFit Kids certifications if you're curious. And some of them were just like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. So I'm hoping to kind of still kind of bring it up and they take advantage of it, and hoping maybe they'll integrate AMRAPs or whatever into their PE classroom. But
Yeah.
it's so early, we're not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously I'm a huge advocate of that. Kind of my background, and you know a lot of this too, is like how much CrossFit or movement, doesn't have to be CrossFit, but how much high intensity interval training um, affects kids, and not only physically, like all the things that they can get for bones and muscles and stuff like that, but their brain and their mental health and their social health and all of that. I guess from your perspective, what is your why? Like, why do you think kids should do, we'll just call it CrossFit, but this kind of intensity, high intensity, varied, random training, or varied, excuse me, not random training. What are they getting out of it? What have you seen them benefit from, or how have they
Mhm.
changed?
Yeah. So working as an educator, I've especially most of it was in a Title I school, and you come across a lot of behaviors and kids who have a hard time managing emotions. Um, and for me, any sport is a good outlet to learn different values. CrossFit specifically because it's challenging. Um, well, I feel like those values are ingrained even deeper because you're teaching Nick said this really well in the video, how they learn to enjoy being challenged. They learn to enjoy going through something difficult and being proud of themselves. And I do think that we see a lot of kids at school these days that when things get challenging, they have such a hard time regulating it, that if they had this outlet and a mentor that helped them see, when when we do a workout and we get tired, we don't quit. We just slow down and change things up a little bit, but we keep going. They can take those values in the classroom and like in all aspects of their life. But without that outlet or any outlet where they get to experience that, there's no way to bridge that gap for them to implement those skills, those social emotional skills. That's really
Yeah,
the why CrossFit is, because it gives them thicker skin and have
yeah,
fun, pushing themselves.
totally. I absolutely love how you said that. What do you think, like, how do you think these kids, so you are directly trying to impact obviously schools and teachers, but kids, how do you think kids learning this now is going to affect them as adults? And then, like, do you think it could have an effect on their families or
Oh, yeah.
siblings or parents?
Yeah, it gives me chills because those kids that were with me initially in second grade are now fifth graders. And you think ahead, like, this is the first pod of kids that I've had experience with where I started in second grade with them. What is middle school going to look like? What I hope it will look like. And I mean, there's studies that show behind it when kids are active in sports or they follow their parents who perhaps like do sports or CrossFit, they that becomes their life in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that with these kids, they keep doing CrossFit, and we'll come across that bridge later where they'll do CrossFit with me in my at my CrossFit gym at Kako in Hillsboro, so that they keep having it in the future. They become adults who exercise, they know how to move well, they love pushing themselves. They're happy and healthy individuals, both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping it will take that they will take that with them into adulthood. For parents, it's cool because there was one of our students who 3 years in when she was doing CrossFit with us, her mom started exercising and her mom lost a lot of weight. And I'm curious, I need to talk to her. Like, I'm curious what initiated that desire because she looks amazing and she's now a really positive role model for her daughter. That she weightlifts, like you're weightlifting, mom is weightlifting now. It becomes like a ripple effect. Like, my child loves pushing herself. I would love that to be that for my child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. Gives me chills too.
No, I
I
almost cried.
it makes me think, like, so much of what we know about kids is like they learn by imitation and they do what they see, and so it puts so much pressure on adults and I think parents. And but what I think is that piece is like if we can't get parents involved or they're kind of having the nerves to do it or they're not able to stay consistent and kind of they're learning their own journey and new habits and kind of their own like fitness battle to maybe get into being healthier, if we can impact it in the schools, like what's yeah like you said, what's the opposite? Like, can adults and our parents, can they be motivated by the kids? Like, can us shifting a whole generation of this youth kind of help the families be more involved and make them involved and healthier in general, but not only that, set them up for a generation of adults that are moving well and doing what we're
Yeah,
trying to teach adults now. Like, we can teach them as kids, and we
yeah,
don't have to introduce adults to fitness.
yeah,
But
I
yeah.
agree.
So you guys have your big competition that you raise money for to kind of create more access. Do you guys have goals for the future of, like, you talked a little bit about wanting to expand it and things, but do you guys have immediate goals? Do you guys have like a next year goal, a 5-year goal? Where do you see this going or wanting it going?
Mhm.
And then we can kind of talk about too, how do people get involved? How do you get more money to help make this happen?
Yeah. So our strategic plan every year right now has stayed pretty consistent, but I can see it shift just a little bit. The goal
Yeah.
is to get into more schools. Currently in Washington County, we've had people ask about like Tualatin or Portland, but without the coaches, we're not there yet. So that's a need, is coaching staff, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But the plan
Yeah.
is next school year to add an additional school in Beaverton. So we kind of just added one school every year, but we're right now a two-man show. Last year was just me, and we're hoping to hire one more coach, so that will help us spread out the classes a little bit more. Um, and in 5 years, well, in 4 years, the goal is to have 8 schools with an after-school CrossFit program. So if we take it slow and we build a positive reputation with the families and the schools, it will reach to more schools, which will ask, like, can I have this program at our facility or at our gym? Um, but the hurdle that we're trying to overcome right now is the staffing, because
Yeah.
without the staffing we won't be able to expand. So we're looking for people who have that flexibility between like 2 o'clock 4 o'clock to be at the schools either one time a week or twice a week. It's up to them. It is a paid position. People think it's a volunteer position because we're a 501c3 nonprofit, but it is paid. We want our coaches to stay because kids need consistency. They build attachments to their mentors, and we want someone who's consistently showing up for them. They don't need to be certified in CrossFit yet when they apply, but they do have to be certified when they start classes, and we'll help with that. We'll help navigate that for them. But yes, the 4-year plan is 8 schools total to have a free after-school CrossFit program. We've also envisioned, and I didn't put this within the 4 years because it just all depends on where we're at with the schools,
Yeah.
is a facility, specifically, hopefully downtown Hillsboro, where CrossFit is free for all students and the students' parents or family members. Because, like we talked about, when the parents see it, they kind of want to do it. But then there's that accessibility portion. Is it affordable? CrossFit's not exactly the most affordable activity, so we want to make that for them. And the
Yeah.
way for us to do that is through C4K Comp, which is the fundraiser we have every year. 62 athletes showed up this year, which is the most we've ever had
That's so cool.
from like
Yeah.
Fort Vancouver and Hillsboro, CrossFit Reedville, CrossFit Caco, Beaverton. They all showed up and raised $15,000, which is amazing. So we have the funds to pay for coaches. We just need to find the coaches.
Yeah.
The other thing is corporate sponsorship. So we're starting to build more awareness with businesses in our area to kind of be the wind behind our sails and donate their funds to help us keep going and expand. And also grants. Grants are the hardest things to get right now. I feel like a lot of no's.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess if someone's listening to this and they're like, okay, I would maybe want to do this, but I don't feel prepared. Do I have to do the programming? How hard is the CrossFit Kids course? Coming from being on the CrossFit Kids staff, I believe it's super fun, super easy, super low pressure, and kind of it builds this community of people where you can now bounce ideas off of and realize like the whole goal is to get kids moving and make it fun. And it doesn't have to be this super strict plan A that goes through and, very regimented. It can be just starting with some games and some easy movements. And that's kind of what we do in the course is talk about how do you even introduce these movements? How do you make them fun? And kind of give that coaching mindset on how to be flexible and start that in the beginning. From your perspective, for somebody thinking about it, what is like maybe scary to them that you could help kind of talk them into like, it would be okay and it would be fun and yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad you asked that question because that's the question that a lot of our applicants ask, like what's required of them. And a lot of them don't have CrossFit Kids experience, maybe some coaching experience with sports. But what we tell them is that the CrossFit Kids certification, I think it is online, I believe.
Yes,
A lot
you
of
can
them.
access it anywhere now. A webinar, which
Super
is
easy.
yeah.
Yeah, super easy. And it is super fun. And we'll help them go through that and get that certification process. So if they're nervous that they don't have a CrossFit cert, that's nothing they need to worry about when they apply. And in terms of their experience with CrossFit Kids, like jumping into it, we definitely wouldn't throw people like what's the saying? You know what I
Like
mean? Like throw them in a pool of sharks.
yeah, or throw them to the wolves. I don't know. Yeah, but
That's
like
what.
yeah,
Sorry, English.
same.
Yeah, we wouldn't just throw them out there without any experience. It's kind of like student teaching, and my student teaching experience helps with this, is that you gradually release them. So first we will coach and they will watch. Then the next time we will coach most of it, they take a chunk of it. And then it's like a gradual thing where they eventually lead the whole class and will be watching and give feedback where they feel comfortable to do it themselves and the kids establish a relationship with them.
Yeah,
And they see how to establish classroom procedures. And again, this is my teacher brain because procedures and expectations are important, but there's a way to do it in a way that it's not too structured and still fun. So we help guide people through like an orientation process. Yeah, and those are the two things. And also that people don't realize that you get paid as
yeah,
well.
yeah. And I guess with the CrossFit Kids course, there is no test, so it's not like the L1 where you're like, oh shoot, am I gonna have to pass this? It's you just show up, you learn, you do the best you can for 2 days online,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, so it's maybe feels a little more easy and less stressful than if you're taking the CrossFit L1 or L2 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then yeah, I guess like what you said too is when you can kind of ease your way in and then start to realize like kids are flexible. Kids are also like spontaneous and have their own ideas, and sometimes they have a great imagination that kind of can shift your class a new direction.
Yeah.
But that like you really can't mess up. Like as long as they're moving and they're having
Yeah.
fun, that's literally the whole goal. Even if, and I mean, I've coached so many CrossFit Kids classes, and usually your plan A does not always go as a plan A. So learning as an adult to be flexible and just kind of ride that fun out and ride your, plan B and plan C, that's just as good as your plan A was.
Yeah, exactly. And it is so rewarding. You get those little moments with the kids. One of my favorites is watching a veteran, like a former athlete from the year before, coach a newer athlete. Oh, that's
Like
like
help them
so
out.
cool. Yes, and they
Yeah.
help them with their deadlifts better than I did because they just were their partner and they were very persistent and very friendly. And it's just those moments that make you think this is really, really cool to get to
Yeah.
be a part of this.
Like not only now do they know how to do a deadlift, but they have the confidence to teach someone else and to communicate that skill and like try to uplift their peers, which is like, yeah, so
Yeah,
cool.
it is really cool.
What do you think? So, in an ideal world, you would, in your organization, would multiply across schools everywhere, like different counties, different states. What do
Mm-hmm.
you think is the biggest, like, hurdle or challenges for getting this integrated in an after school program or getting it integrated in schools in general outside of maybe the coaching staff? Like, what's
Mm.
something that could make it more accessible to you guys or to other places?
Accessible.
Like, do you think it might be programming? Do you think it comes down to like maybe just learning how to do the movements, like taking the CrossFit Kids class?
Mm,
Um, yeah.
yeah. Um, and to mention programming, we do give out programming that all coaches will use, and like you said, they can be flexible with things within their class depending on their students. I guess I don't understand the question. Can you rephrase it?
Yeah. Just if somebody were to want to do what you guys are doing in
Oh,
schools, do
okay.
you foresee any barriers on why people might not want to get started?
Mm, uh-huh. So, for example, if there's somebody, and a couple people came up to me during C4K Comp and said, I would love to do this at my daughter's school. I'm a teacher. I would love to do this at my school. Perhaps it could be um, the time. Like the
Okay.
time to set aside to really think it out. How do I integrate this? Who do I talk to make this happen? And for someone who's been through it before, like I'm happy to sit down and talk with people if they're wanting to expand or start a program at their school, or perhaps they want to start a program at their child's school, and just think about what they need to plan out. Like first talk to the principal or the
Mm-hmm.
community liaison, definitely the principal and vice principal, say, I'm interested in doing a free after school program. This is what we need. We need the facility at a certain day and time. And if we can figure out transportation, great. And then from there, what about the equipment? Like what are ways that you can bring equipment into the classroom? And that can be a gradual thing. You can just start with simple body weight movements at first. You don't need so much equipment to begin with because it's better for them, as you know, to do the foundational basics of pressing, even with like a cone or just air squatting body weight. And then
Yeah.
over time, get little baby weights to get them excited. Like, ooh, we leveled up. We get to use this dumbbell now. And in terms of programming, there's lots of programs out there that have great programming, but we're all in this together. If they need someone, like they can go to you. Like you're a great programmer for kids. I go to you for games and like programming, um or just like ask us what we do for our schools, and we're happy to delegate that or to hand any resources out to them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what you do is amazing. Obviously, I've kind of been following your guys' journey and I'm a huge advocate for it expanding.
Thank you.
Outside of coaching
Mm.
and people donating money, through, I guess, signing up for the competition, are you guys having any more competitions or events this year? Is
Mm-hmm.
there a way for people to kind of like donate on your guys' website? What does that look like to help you guys?
Yeah. We only have the one, like the big fundraiser competition that's for adults. We are planning to have little pockets of competitions for the kids that are just experiences for them. But if people did want to donate, if they go to our website, which is our nonprofit's name, it's organization in Spanish, so organizaciondeamigos.com. If they go to donate, there's multiple ways that they can donate. They can join the monthly giving program, and that's just a subscription of $5 a month, which is just a coffee a month, mind you,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
$10 a month. It's up to them. They can give a direct donation through our website. If they want to just do a one-time donation, they can do bottle drop. If they want to, if they collect bottles through Bottle Drop in Oregon, they can. And if people want to start their own fundraiser, there's a lot of nonprofits out there that have people just take the initiative to do their own thing. Like, hey, if they're at an affiliate, for example, hey, let's just do a workout this Saturday, and there's a $10 drop-in fee. Bring your friends, bring your families, and all the money will go to helping Amigos fund their programs.
Yeah. I
That'd be
mean,
cool to see.
yeah. I mean, I would love to help with something like that too up here. And yeah, it could be super simple and help a lot of kids. Like,
Mhm.
not only change one life, but a lot of lives kind of through that cascading effect that we've talked
Yeah.
about.
I know, and I want to bring up our very first competition, C4K Comp, which is our fundraiser in 2021. We had 25 teams, and this last year, there were 5 individuals were there the very first year. And I highlighted them and said, like, you guys, when you signed up for that first competition, you helped introduce 10 kids to CrossFit, and now we've expanded to 73.
Yeah, that's
So, like,
incredible. Like,
the ripple effect, the expanding from just one event, it goes a long way.
yeah. And you said that was 2021 was your first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so that's a huge jump in just a few years and just one
Yeah.
area. Like Washington County is big, but like not that big for just kind of your
Mhm.
guys' little area.
Mhm.
But well, cool. Well, if people want to contact you, best way through your website, the Instagram, is there kind of any other ways for contact for questions or inquiries or just support?
Yeah. The best way to contact us, they can go to our website and go to the contact us page. That number is not my direct number, but my work number, so I'll be the one answering it. They can also go to our Instagram and send us a message. We're very proactive in responding through our Instagram account. But other than that, they can also email me. It's my work email is jesdudley@odaamigos.org, but the website might be the easiest.
Yeah, has access to all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, anything else you want to add to kind of tell the people about like you, about your organization, even about your guys' CrossFit gym currently?
Yeah. Um, so I mean, I would just say that, Organización de Amigos is a 501(c)(3). We work with kids 1st through 6th grade and bring free after school CrossFit programs directly into the school in Washington County, but we're looking to expand, and with more support from our community and corporate sponsors and government officials with grants, the more that we can provide this access for students. And if people would want to follow our Instagram account and just spread the word about what we do, that will go a long way, just because you'll see the impact directly on our Instagram, that the kids are, what the kids are experiencing and how
Yeah.
positive it is.
Thanks for popping on and chatting for a little bit, and I'm sure we'll chat more in the future about some things.
Oh, yeah,
But
for
yeah.
sure. Thank you for having me.